I'm sure you must have wondered and asked this question to yourself that whenever you speak in English, why don't you sound confident? And why can't you speak in English confidently? Because if you look around and notice other English speakers, you see that all of them are speaking English confidently and flawlessly. They are not making any mistakes. They are not fumbling. And whenever they try to speak, it sounds really impressive because they do not have any kind of hesitation in their voice. See, this is one of the problems a lot of English learners face, and you are not alone. And trust me when I say that you are not alone, I really mean it. Because there was a time when I used to struggle with this issue as well. But just by focusing on practical solution and instead of worrying about my problem that I was not able to speak in English confidently, I focused on the solution. I focused on how I can overcome this issue. So in this video, I am going to give you some practical solution and tips that can help you to become a confident English speaker who is not afraid and worried about his or her English. First step is micro practice. And as you can guess by its name that you have to focus on practice. But here we are not over exaggerating it and not trying to overcomplicate this topic and just simply focusing on practicing just for a shorter duration of time. When we say you have to focus on micro practice, I just mean that you have to practice only for 3 to 5 minutes. When you are focusing on practicing just for 3 to 5 minutes, your mind will not make you feel scared and hesitant that you have such a big task and you have to get it done, which is not possible, and then you keep delaying that task. Because if you keep telling yourself that I have to practice only for 3 to 5 minutes, your mind will tell you that it is not a big deal, you can easily get it done, so let's go. And again, when you are focusing on micro practice, you must remember one rule that there's no skipping day. I mean, you cannot skip even for a day. And it is perfect for those people who are afraid and constantly thinking that I am going to make a lot of mistakes, and they keep delaying this process. They keep delaying the process of speaking. Therefore, they do not speak at all. And if you're not speaking properly every single day, even for just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, how could you expect yourself to be confident? One more thing you must remember when we are talking about micro practice, that we are only going to focus on speaking skill and not on learning this language. Because when we talk about learning English, we mainly focus on consumption. And trust me, no matter how much you have consumed information in English, but if you do not speak English as much as you can never be confident. Second step you must focus on is imitation. I know I have spoken about this step quite many times in my several videos, but trust me, imitation is one of the techniques that can significantly change your English. The way you speak, the way you sound, the way you convey your message, everything will be changed. And when I talk about imitation, it is not complicated at all. You could simply follow this step for 10 to 15 minutes, depending on how much time you want to dedicate towards learning this language. So what you have to do, just play any video or audio, whatever you prefer. Just pause it for a second and then repeat after that out loud. Yeah, repeating after that out loud is the most important step, because if you skip this part, I do not think this step will be as much helpful to you as it should be. So, when you are repeating something out loud, your brain is being trained in a certain way. So, basically, it works like the gym for your speaking muscle. And I feel imitation is one of the steps that can significantly boost your confidence And you are doing it not for others, but for yourself. When you keep practicing, when you keep giving certain tasks to your tongue and to your brain, that you have to act in a certain way, you have to speak in a certain way, it works really good. And when I'm saying this, I really mean it, because I have been following this imitation or copy paste technique, like whatever you want to call it, and it has significantly improved my English, the way I sound and the way I express my opinion. And I think confidence is one of the steps that is built over time. And you know what? All the people out there who are speaking English, they were not like that. They took just tiny step, and that's how they reached to the point where they're able to speak without having much hesitation or without having the fear of judgment or anything. And it can be worked upon. And the most important step, and this is something that could truly change the way you speak, the way your confidence shines, and it is practice with real people. Trust me, I have focused on several other steps like speaking in front of camera, speaking in front of mirror, speaking in front of object, talking to yourself, doing all other activities. But the amount of improvement I got from talking to an actual person is something I cannot express in words. When you are focusing on activities such as speaking in front of mirror, speaking in front of camera or any object, certainly you are going to improve your speaking skill. But here we are talking about boosting confidence, sounding confidence, and it can only be done when you put yourself into uncomfortable situations. When you do certain things that makes you feel a bit awkward. And I could give you an example. This is something very powerful. I remember when I started learning English, after a couple of months, I was able to communicate a little bit. I was able to introduce myself, express my opinion on certain topics. Sure, I was not really confident, but at least I was able to speak a little bit. And yeah, by this time, I was doing everything on my own. Like I had not involved any other person in the journey or in the process. But one day I just decided that now I want to speak to an actual person, because that is the most powerful way to become confident. I just connected to a random person, and honestly, I was miserable. My English was really horrible that I couldn't speak more than 3 to 4 sentences. It was so bad that I started doubting myself. I started questioning my capability, that what exactly I was doing. Because so far I had thought that I am good at this language. I am able to talk to myself. I am able to record myself. I am able to express my opinion. But when I'm talking to an actual person, I could not even introduce myself properly. But at that time, I didn't give up. I knew that this is just the beginning, and if I want to be more confident, I will have to be embarrassed. I will have to go through all the failures. I will have to go through all the situations where I feel like giving up. And that's how I overcame this problem. So, if you're thinking that you need to avoid people because you are either introvert or you do not have the right environment, I totally get it. I know how it feels, but trust me, nowadays creating proper environment, finding co-learners is really easy. I think through various applications you could connect with strangers and improve your English. So try to connect with an actual person, with the real people who can help you to be embarrassed. Because I feel when you are being embarrassed, you're learning a lot of things. You do not have that fear. And that's how you are going to overcome all of your problems. That could be stuttering whenever you're trying to speak, or that could also be fumbling, just shivering, because it used to happen with me. I have gone through all of these phases where I used to shake because I was feeling nervous. I used to fumble a lot, making hundreds of mistakes. I used to stutter. I used to feel that I just want to disconnect the call right there because I wasn't able to pronounce certain words. I wasn't able to construct certain sentences. But that's how I went, and this is how I overcame this issue, and now I'm able to speak English confidently. And the bonus tip I would highly recommend you is try to speak slowly. And whenever you have to answer, just relax for a second and then speak. I have noticed this in myself. So I'm such a fast speaker. I can't even emphasize how fast I speak in my mother tongue. And that's how I adapted this quality of speaking fast even when I speak in English. But when I speak slowly, when I take pauses, when I just try to slow down even a bit, I express my thoughts more clearly, I sound more confident, and I sound more assertive. So I feel when you are slowing down, taking a little bit of pauses, and not rushing to answer any question, you are going to perform much better. So the next time you have to speak, that could be for practice, that could be having conversation with your friends, that could be giving an interview, that could be for anything. Just slow down for a second. And instead of running behind fancy words and just trying to sound perfect, just think slowly and speak slowly. And yeah, when I say slowly, I really do not mean that you have to wait for a few minutes, like, not like that. I hope you got my point. You just have to slow down a little bit, like right now, the way I'm speaking. But again, it could be depending on the way you speak. It doesn't have to be like the way I'm speaking right now. But when you take time, your mind will be a bit calm, and then you do not forget words. You do not have this fight or flight mode on. And at that time, you sound really confident and assertive. So these are the couple of steps I have been implementing in the way I communicate, in the way I express my thoughts, and all of them have been really, really helpful to me. And these are the steps I have followed by myself, and all of them worked really well, gave me the fruitful result, and that's why I recommended all of them to you. So I hope this video was helpful to you and could guide you in some extent. So that's all about this video. I hope I will be back with an interesting video very soon. Bye bye.